And still on economic-related stories, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has given traders and market stakeholders a one-month ultimatum to reduce the prices of goods or face enforcement actions. Speaking at the stakeholders' engagement on exploitative pricing in Abuja on Thursday, the newly appointed Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, Mr. Tunji Bello, warned that enforcement would commence after the moratorium period. Bello said the meeting aimed to tackle the rising trend of unreasonable pricing of consumer goods and unwholesome practices by market association. Stakeholders attributed the continuous increase in prices to factors such as high transportation costs, insecurity, and multiple taxation. On its part, Bello acknowledged these challenges and assured the government's commitments to addressing them. And to unpack this, I'm joined by the CEO, Asha Investments Limited, and that's Muktar Mohammed. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
All right, let me start by asking what are the potential economic implications of enforcing price controls on traders and also market stakeholders? Do you think the one-month ultimatum is enough for them to adjust their pricing strategies?
Look, as a government, when you see such pronouncement, it just tells you how serious a government can be. I don't know how you should be talking about price control in a capitalized economy where every man has the right to whatever he wants to sell, and the other people have a right to buy it or not. That by the way. And secondly, you've admitted to a fact that there are a lot of challenges. Why are you not trying to deal with those challenges? Why are you always just trying to make sure that you push the farmers or the traders to one side of the, that's what really makes sense for the government at the moment. I don't think they are really ready to address the problem. Like you said in your introduction, multiple taxation, high cost of transportation, and other challenges, insecurity, the movement of these are not things that can be addressed in 1 month. So when you are giving farmers ultimatum and yet importation of some of the machineries that they use for production, for food production, still go through the import, export, willing buyer, willing seller window. Today, 1,600, tomorrow, 1,560, tomorrow, 1,650. You are just trying to, I mean, it's more or less like a government that doesn't know what to do, and then you now look for soft targets. And for now, the soft targets are the traders.
Well, speaking of problems, one problem we do have in Nigeria is the inflation rate. I mean, do you think the FCCPC's move will impact overall inflation rates in the country?
What you have to do, you just need to ask, is that the right thing to do to bring down inflation? Is it price control that brings down inflation? We've done this, remember we did the FX control with the EFCC reading Bureau de Change. Where did it end? At the end of the day, the exchange rate has gone to as high as 1,900 and now it's selling for 1,600. So you don't use such methods. It could give you short-term gain, but at the long run, how are you going to implement it in how many markets in Nigeria? Do you have the manpower? Do you have manpower to begin to implement that? Or you just go to supermarkets? And then how many Nigerians actually go to supermarket to buy all these things? You're talking about the machine. I listened to Mr. Tunji Bello talking about the machine, branding machine that was about $90-something in America, and he's selling for about $8,000 here in Nigeria. If you look at the exchange rate, and you ask yourself, so you know all this, why is it that you two also are not doing what the Americans are doing, which is give people loans to be able to do businesses? And you are saying that you are not thinking about the cost of transportation. You are not looking into your exchange rate, which is about 1,600, and you don't know how much the person pays in terms of bringing in the goods of that. I mean, that goods at that amount, because it has been proven now it's more expensive to bring in goods to Nigeria than what you bought it abroad. Because sometimes you buy a good for $1,000 in America, then you are coming to Nigeria, you are paying a tariff of $1,500. So they really get to get their acts together and then see how they can deal with core inflation, how to do it with core inflation, because core inflation in Nigeria is largely driven by production costs, economic policies like what pronouncement, like what they have made now, then microeconomic instability, then monetary policy decisions, which has also been one of the major cause of inflationary pressure in Nigeria, high cost of borrowing. They are not looking at that. They are not thinking of addressing that. Hiking rates has not brought down anything, and yet we are still doing the same thing and we expect different results. So I think they are just trying to play politics as usual, same so that we think they are doing something. They are doing nothing about it.
All right, Mr. Mohammed, we'll have to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Just hold your thoughts. Thank you for staying tuned. I was still talking about the FCCPC's enforcement of pricing on traders and also market stakeholders. We're talking to our guest, Muktar Mohammed, CEO of Asia Investment Limited, before we took that short break. Also joined by the CEO of Friska Farms Limited, and that's Usman Imanah. But then let me continue with you, Mr. Mohammed. You were talking about one of the measures to help address this surge in prices of goods to be loans, giving loans to traders. But then beyond loans, how can we curb, high transportation costs, insecurity, as well as multiple taxation as factors affecting prices of goods?
Well, all what you just mentioned are all physical policies. So that means it's up to the government. You and I cannot go to the road and begin to implement that. It's up to the government to do that. And then I don't think they know what they want to do as regard that, because you talk about insecurity. You need to, you and I do not have access to arm. You talk about transportation. They've told us about CMG buses. Up till now, we've not seen any of those CMG buses bringing goods into Lagos, especially Lagos. So again, you talk about implementing stopping multiple taxation. They have a special committee that has been set up since the president came in. That committee has been working up to this moment. They are trying to get the state government and others to come together so that we could have a reduction in multiple taxation. We've not seen any result yet from that committee. So most of the things you just highlighted are in the hands of the government to implement that. And another what is the physical side. So the physical authority need to up their game and make sure all these things comes to be sooner than later.
Let me get a perspective of Mr. Imanah. Mr. Imanah, just to find out from you, get your perspective on what you think could be the economic impact of enforcing prices on traders. Do you see this efficient or even sustainable?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Honestly speaking, I don't think that it is a sustainable it's a sustainable policy. I'm still struggling to understand how it will be implemented. I'm trying to get more information, but I doubt that it is going to be sustainable. Just like the previous speaker said, there are. What should have been done is to address the key issues that traders and manufacturers alike are facing. Traders don't just increase their prices for the sake of it. They do that in response to the economic realities. So before you can ask or try to, you don't even need to enforce price reduction. The forces of supply and demand will do that for you freely. So when you have when traders can move products easily at an affordable price, and they're able to do business, and ease of doing business is increased, more people will get into different businesses. And when you have more people in trading in a particular product, the price will automatically come down because people will compete for customers. So again, I would say maybe my level of understanding is still quite low, but I struggle to see how this will be implemented and how it can be sustainable, especially in a democracy that we we claim to be running in this country.
Okay, just to follow your train of thought, you talked about addressing key issues. I mean, one of the key issues raised by some of the traders is that there is insecurity impacting prices of goods and commodities, as well as high cost transportation costs. You talked about ease of doing business, but how best, if you could expatiate, how can we really address insecurity from your point of view, as well as the high cost of transportation that impacts prices of goods and services?
Okay, so for insecurity, I'll key into commodities as foodstuff, and I'm assuming that this is insecurity in the farms. So farmers are not able to go and farm to produce as much, so you have less produce, and because there is a shortage in supply, you have an increase in price. That's the assumption I'm working with. The truth is, I don't think, based on my experience and what I have, my studies, that is not the only reason why we have increase in price. Insecurity is part of it, but there's also the devaluation of the naira. You see, everybody is an economist, right? And especially when you are trading, or when you're running a business, be it farming or trading, you are an economist. What you are trying to do is how you can get the best value for the best value for what you are selling. So you want to get the highest pay for the value that you are bringing to the table. So there's insecurity on one hand, but the truth is, if you are a farmer, if you're a big time farmer in the north, and you have your produce, and you can sell that produce in Niger Republic or Cameroon or Chad and earn dollars, you prefer to do that than to sell and earn naira, because the truth is the value of those people's currency have increased. So if they were buying from you at $6, right, in the past, $6 at 700 naira was 4,200. Today, $6 is over 9,000. So if, as a farmer in the north, I'll do everything possible to carry my goods across the border and sell, it's a case of who is going to pay me the most. But that's one hand. I'll come back to the security. For insecurity, and you have asked what can be done, there was some time in the news when, I'm not sure if it is the current president or somebody in government has said something about forest rangers. We need to look at what is done in other countries, right? The security agencies are stretched thin, and kudos to them. They've done a lot in terms of curbing insecurity.
Mr. Imanah, I wish we had more time, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for your perspective on the new CEO Friska Farms Limited, Usman Imanah, as well as Muktar Mohammed, CEO of Asia Investment Limited. Gentlemen, many thanks indeed.
Thank you for having me.